Okay, so
Yeah.
Roscoe, you arrive at
Where the hell am
Aya's place, and she is closing up her business for the day. It's like 6:30, 7 o'clock at this point. You arrive just as she is on the inside of the door, flipping the open sign to closed in the window.
Okay. Um. Hey. Remember me?
She looks through the glass in the window, and she looks down because you're really short.
Yeah. I'm like jumping and waving my hand. Hey. Hey.
And she opens the door and she says, "Yes, detective, I remember you. How can I help you?"
Um. I kind of lead her back away from like public eyes and shit, and kind of like break out that gilded
Inside of her
skull.
shop.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
it locked to the table?
I
Nope.
I kind of want to hide it in my coat and kind of like, I kind of need to know about this. This is yeah, yeah. This doesn't look normal,
She looks at
and
this and, yeah, it's a dice. You can roll it.
okay,
Anyway,
this is
um,
kind of what got us into Shadowfell.
um,
That's a weird
roll
story
me
there.
and roll me an insight check.
Okay, and there's like all kind of dice up here. 12.
12. Okay, you remember that this was not your transport into the Shadowfell. This is something that you came across once you were actually in the Shadowfell.
Yeah. Wait. When I picked it up off the throne,
Yes, the tower
shit
collapsed, but
changed.
you were already
Yeah.
in the Shadowfell.
Oh, okay.
The You're not entirely sure at what point in the sewers you entered the Shadowfell. You crossed over
Yeah.
from one plane to the next, but it was at some time
Okay.
before you entered into the tower. So the tower, that entire thing was on the Shadowfell.
Yeah.
As far as your insight check, you
But
can tell her whatever you want,
this
but just so you're clear.
absolutely had magical powers, and it had something to do with the Shadowfell. And I don't just want to pawn this for cheap change.
She reaches out her hands and she says, may I hold it?"
I look at her suspiciously because it does have jewels inside. I
And
mean,
she says now, as
but
she sees she senses your trepidation, and she says now, my
I
good halfling, I know that you have
begrudgingly
ties
hand it
with.
over.
I know that you. She continues as you hand it over. She takes it from you, and she says, "I know that
Yeah.
you have ties with the Black Fist. I would not dream of absconding with such a valuable artifact from you. You did the best you could." She said, "At first, I was upset with all of you because you didn't put in a good word with me with the library, and they came and repossessed all of my books." And you're in her library at this point, and you notice that her library is like half of what it used to be. Most of her books are, the majority of her books are gone. And
Madam,
she says, "But your friend Neiman came by and smoothed things over, and she says, I understand that you did everything that you could."
well,
And she says,
I hope that I can do some more in the future. I believe that I might be able to,
she says, "Well,
but
hopefully our relationship will be mutually beneficial." And she gets a decanter full of brandy, and she pours out two glasses, and she hands you one. As she, takes the skull and kind of looks it over, she sets it on the table, pours the drinks. And you can sense her casting a spell. You don't have Arcana proficiency, do you?
no, not at
Okay.
all.
So you can sense her casting a spell, and she kind of sips her brandy and sits down at a table, and she casts spell after spell. For about a half an hour, she sort of ignores you, and she leaves the decanter there, so you can. She sort of leaves you to your own devices with the decanter inside of her library for a while. Are you doing anything in particular, or just waiting?
I would like to look around the library. Is there?
Is there any loose change hanging around?
That's kind of one of the things I was thinking. But are there any chemicals laying around? Poisons or anything?
No, she is. She's not an alchemist. She
Oh.
is. Okay. You guys have talked to her enough during your investigation.
Yeah.
And I poorly role-played everyone during that section of the game. So you would already know that she's a wizard, obviously. She also studies the weave. She is what she considers herself to be an expert on matters of the weave. Which is, in short, if anyone is not aware, the weave is basically the mesh of magic that covers the world. Any spell that you cast, you're manipulating the weave to create whatever effect it is. So she studies the weave, and then she also tutors the children of wealthy nobles to make ends meet. She also scribes scrolls and sells those types of services and things like that. So that would be her occupation.
Okay.
I forgot what we were talking about to get there.
No, because I was wondering how I could rip her off, but I don't know
Yeah,
if I
it's
want
mostly
to.
books,
Yeah.
pins.
I'm looking around and being like, man,
Yeah, it's mostly, you would imagine that
I can
most
make
of...
better money somewhere else.
Right, and she is at her desk.
Yeah.
There would probably be some goodies inside of the desk, but that's where she's sitting with the skull.
Yeah, no. I'll just leave her alone because I really want that skull figured out.
Are you going to drink up all of her brandy?
No.
All right.
I'm not actually.
Okay, so she...
I got a
where'd it
flask
go?
on me, and I drink out of my flask instead of the brandy.
The flask is empty. You should refill it with her brandy. Yeah, just about this time you realize your
All
flask
right.
is kind of going empty a little bit, and she's not looking.
All right, well, I'll fill up my flask with the brandy,
Give me a sleight of hand check.
as suggested. You fucking...
No,
All right.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean it is.
No, I
What you
prefer
gonna-
vodka.
oh,
But-
okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
All right, fine.
I didn't know you were snooty about your drink.
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
Where'd you go in your sleight of
I
hand?
fill up my flask and I thank her, and I'll get back to her when the skull. When is the skull? When you expect me to come back
So
and check
okay,
on
so
that?
she notices you try to take a sip from the flask, and it's empty. And then you turn to the brandy decanter, and you're considering filling it. And she looks up from the skull, and she watches you for a moment, and she says, "You know, I've got a more liquor cabinet if you'd like something else to drink." And she points over to
Oh,
the cabinet
sure.
over on the other side. And yeah, no, you can. I just thought it would be entertaining if you filled your flask. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
like fucking force that on you. Anyway, so she
No,
she
no,
looks at the
no.
skull, and she spends about a half an hour doing her spell casting and trying to identify it. And she says, there's not much I can do in short order, but if you want to leave it here for a while, maybe I can continue to research and run tests or see what I can discover about it for you. I can tell you this much: it's a very, very powerful magical item that is
And I find
actively resisting my attempts to force my way into it and determine what it does.
And I'm totally listening to her as I'm filling my flask with like this 80-year-old fucking fine scotch.
All right.
I was like, yes, cool. I'll come back later then.
All right, and
And-
she goes back to inspecting it and gives you the opportunity to show yourself the door.